Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we're speaking with Clint Callahan, and he is the founder of Small Changes, Big Impact. And I'm just so excited to hear him tell us all about how the little things we can do can have such a big impact on our life. So tell us about your background, Clint. Tell us how you got started and tell us what you're doing.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. So, like you said, my name is Clint Callahan. I've been a social worker and therapist for the last 23 years. I've pretty much worked with everything and everybody, so there's not much that surprises me anymore, but yet things constantly surprise me every day. The reason why I started Small Changes, Big Impact is because I learned in my own life through all the different struggles and stresses that I had, which I'll get into later, that it really doesn't take big activity to make the changes in your life. It really only takes about 15 minutes a day of you being mindful about what's going on in your life to change your thinking. And by changing your thinking, you're able to now look at things differently and then tell yourself a different story. Because human beings run on stories. It's what we do. And the sad thing is, because of biological evolution, we tend to be negative because we've spent most of our evolutionary thing surviving. And survival is often viewed as a negative thing. It can be positive, but biologically speaking, it's negative. It means we're in danger. So we often go back to the fight or flight response, even when there's no reason to, because our brain, as amazing as it is still wired for being stuck in the cave, being chased by saber-toothed tigers, being all those kind of things. And so by allowing ourselves to recognize those things and see it and stop telling ourselves the story, we can make massive changes in our life in just a little bit of time.
I couldn't agree with you more. So what motivated you to move into this phase of your life journey instead of staying in social work?
Yeah. I'm still doing therapy. I'm still doing social work, but I wanted to do more. I wanted to help more people, because there's only so much you can do one-on-one. So I decided to create a group coaching program where I'm basically recording videos of myself teaching the different lessons that I've learned throughout my 47 years on this planet and all the different lessons that I've learned being a social worker for 23 of those years, in order to help people understand that it really only takes 15 minutes a day to let go of these preconceived notions and these stresses. And really, the most amazing thing is, that's 1% of your day. It's literally using 1% of your day to affect massive change in your life. And that's what's most important. And I chose to make this change and this shift because people need help. The mental health system in America is broken. I've been in it for 23 years. I've been on both sides of it. I've worked for health insurance companies. I've worked for agencies. I've worked as a therapist in my independent practice, which I'm doing now. And now I'm switching into life coaching, because I really think what's necessary for people is they need the knowledge and the psychological tools in order to help move themselves forward. Because my job, technically, if you really want to get super technical, is I'm a professional secret keeper and advice giver. That's what I do.
Yeah, and people just aren't prepared. As we grow up, we're not taught these skills. As we go to school, we're not taught these skills. And if you really try to reach out, I know there was a time when I really struggled wondering about my sanity.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to find somebody to help me. And a life coach would have been better
Mm-hmm.
than a psychologist.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I get that, and psychiatrist.
Yeah, it's okay.
Most
people, some people call me doctor, and I keep saying, no, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
But it's those kind of things that the hard thing about mental health is I'm a big advocate for mental health, people going to therapy, people doing self-exploration, self-help, any way that you can get the information to begin to make change. Yes, by all means do that. But the reason why I'm still doing therapy, but also stepping into life coaching is because really what I've noticed is in the last 2 years that I've been doing my practice, I've been really focusing more on helping people get unstuck and just move forward. I've stopped doing the Freudian, more psychoanalysis model where, oh, let's look back at your entire history and your entire past to figure out what's wrong today, when really, no, you just want your pain to stop now. You just want to change now. So let's do things to help you get unstuck now by giving you proper tools and proper psychological tools that are tested, verified, and all these different things.
There's so much data behind the modalities too.
Yes. And that's the thing, is that as people continue, and the amazing thing about the world is we can do this. One of the benefits of COVID, which is weird to say, was this law was rushed in for all the country, where therapists can now do this. I can now talk to people they're like, you don't know how long I've been trying to get therapy. I literally live 100 miles from nowhere. There are no therapists around me. I'm in a small town. I wouldn't want to talk to anybody in this town anyway, because I don't know what they would say or not say. So I need someone I can talk to. And now because of this, we can do that. And so that's the amazing side of technology. But then there's the flip side.
COVID really was a two-sided sword.
Yes, it was.
There was the bad, horrible stuff that it caused. But man, on the other side of it, so much opportunity and to get help. And people are stepping into their powers, and you were helping a few people, and now you can help a lot of people. Yeah, which is
because I'm licensed in both California and Colorado. And because we moved to Colorado about 5 years ago, if I would have left California, I could not have practiced there. I could not have kept my clients there. I could not have continued my relationship with these people there. But because of what happened with COVID, it allowed me then to reconnect with those people and continue to provide care across state lines. And I think that is more necessary, because how is me living in Colorado changing the skills and the knowledge that I can bring to other people? It doesn't. But it's one of those things that, of course, we like to have arbitrary boundaries and laws and rules because that's the way it is.
And like you said, the opportunities that COVID has afforded in terms of, opening up the boundaries and making it accessible for people. I was, my own experience where I couldn't find help locally. And now you can go online and you can find the help that you need. And it's really more confidential and personal.
Well, it is also because the studies have shown that people feel more comfortable when they actually are talking to you from their own home. So they're able to share more. They are more confident that no one's going to be outside listening at the door or any of these different things than when they come into the office. I still see people in person, and I see people on video, but I like the in-person part just because it's a slightly different dynamic, but video works just as well. I've done it now for over 2.5 years, and I still am seeing the same results for my clients. Like I was just telling you about one of my clients today that I just saw him by video. He's been working through the small changes, big impact system with me. He was kind of one of my beta testers. He's one of my therapy clients. And he was telling me about the big changes in his life and how it's able to bring back joy in his life. Like he told me how one of the things that I used to do is I used to play competitive golf, but I lost my joy for playing competitive golf because I would get so mad and I would have this story in my head that because I've screwed up this shot, it's going to ruin the rest of the game. And then it did because of self-fulfilling prophecies. You tell yourself a story enough, you'll begin to act out the story, whether you want to or not. And what he told me later is that ever since he started working with me and I gave him those different tools and stuff, that he took that step back after he had a bad first hole, but then he actually ended up winning the round because he took a step back and took a breath and recognized that no one else is paying attention that I did bad on this hole. Everybody else is playing against themselves. I can do better the next hole. It's all about doing better the next set. And he found his joy again, and it made him. I haven't seen him that happy in a while, that he found that joy again. And that's really what I want people to understand, is that by taking a step back and recognizing these very important things, which is the first is we are all making it up as we go along. No matter how put together the person may seem on the outside, from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed, they're making it up. Everything I just talked about, I made it up. It's coming out of my head as we're doing this right now. And the second thing is that once you recognize that you're making everything up as you go along, you can take a breath and realize that failure is part of the equation. That failing does not mean the end of something. If anything, it's just saying, try this differently. And by using those two things, you then recognize my favorite thing, which is life is absurd. The more that you see how insane life is, the more that you take that step back and recognize, oh, I'm a human being on a mud ball spinning around in a void of space. And yet I'm trading my time, which is the most valuable asset that I'll never get back, for invisible things called money. And yet I don't ever feel like I have enough, and I don't ever feel like I'm safe enough, and I don't ever feel like all of these things. But yet, yes, you can, because again, it's all about perspective.
Yeah, that's profound.
I've had a little bit of practice.
Yeah. And a lot of it comes down to just waking up in the morning and deciding, what you're going to think about today. Yeah. And then there's a Bible verse that says something to the effect of, take all your thoughts captive. Think about what you're thinking about, because the thoughts really do impact your life, your whole life. It's not just what you put in your mouth that affects your body. It's the thoughts you're having in your head, because thoughts generate emotions, and emotions trigger hormones. And, different hormones will cause different actions in your body.
And one of the most amazing thing that people don't recognize is that it's actually flipped. 80% of what our brain gets comes from our body. So that's why I always tell people, whenever they're struggling with anxiety or depression or anger or these kind of things, listen to your body just before you have the feeling. If you can figure out what your body is doing, like I know for me, I'll use me as an example. When I get really anxious, my guts start to roll. I start to feel sick to my stomach. I start to just feel and that's how I know I'm really anxious. But I know that because I paid attention that whenever I get really anxious, that's how I feel. And so then I'm able to do a very simple technique called box breathing, which is designed to stop your adrenal system from dumping more adrenaline. Because when we get caught in fight or flight mode, our brain gets stuck in a loop and it doesn't know how to break out of it, because our brain is telling us, because our body is telling our brain, there's danger. We're going to die. There's danger. We're going to die. Because that's the only thing our brain knows after all that evolution. That's evolutionary biology. Because if you really think about it, we've only in America really been safe and secure and not needing to have to worry or work 12, 15, 18 hours a day to survive. Most people don't have to do that anymore. But by doing that, it changed the way that we look at the world. Because it's been about 80 years, it's been 120 years since the Industrial Revolution, 80 years since the first major computer was invented. And then it's been, like 26 years or so since the internet happened. And then it's been like 14 years since the smartphone, and then like 7 years since apps, and now a year since AI. So we are in a very small little thing that's changed everything. Because now if I wanted to, I wouldn't have to leave my office ever. I could stay here, and Amazon and Walmart Plus could deliver my groceries and food to me, and I could live in here forever because I don't need to struggle to survive anymore. And that's the thing. But our brain is still wired only for survival, because that's what we did from all of human history, is survival.
I think there's a point when you were talking about paying attention to your body. My gut's royal also when I'm anxious. And I don't even necessarily recognize why that happens, because so many of our thoughts happen in our subconscious mind.
Exactly.
So if you're paying attention to your body, which was it was an aha moment for me. So I just want to talk this through for a second.
Sure.
Because I noticed this happened to me yesterday.
Okay.
I noticed my stomach was like in knots about something, but I didn't really stop to take the moment. I recognized, you're anxious.
Yeah.
But then I was really busy, so I didn't stop and think, okay, why are you anxious? What was the thought that caused this anxiety to start happening in your body, which is a chemical reaction.
Yes,
it's not like it's not something that you can just like say, oh, I'm not going to be anxious anymore. Yep. You have to actually figure out what triggered it.
Yep.
And then do the box breathing, which I would like for you to share how that actually looks, because I think a lot of people don't know.
So what I usually do is, this is what I teach my clients, and this is part of my Small Changes, Big Impact program, is I teach them what I call an emotional management plan. So the first thing you do is, when you notice that your body, or that you're starting to feel anxious or depressed or having any big emotional moment that you consider to be negative, because it depends on how you view it. But if you consider it to be negative, the first thing you do is you box breathe. And box breathing is a type of breathing that's designed to calm your sympathetic nervous system, because breathing is one of the few things that is automatic, but it's the only thing that is automatic, but that we can control. And so box breathing is, you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold out empty for 4 seconds, and then breathe back in for 4 seconds. And then you do that 4 times. And by doing that, it's telling your body, there is no tiger, there is no bear, there is no danger. Because when there's danger, our lungs only breathe shallowly, and because it's trying to hyperoxygenate our body to fight or to run. And so by changing the way you're breathing, when you're feeling anxious or depressed, or you're having those kind of looping, ruminating thoughts, it slows everything down. It gets your body to go, oh, I guess I'm not in physical danger. I can turn off all the hormones that are causing this. And so by doing that, it gives you the ability to stop. And then the next thing you do is you write down verbatim what the story is in your brain. You can write it, you can do voice typing on your phone, you can record a video of like, okay, this is the stuff I was thinking right now. And by doing that, what it allows you to do then is, then you go do just a bit of exercise, go take a quick walk somewhere, go walk around, go do a push-up, a sit-up, go do something, because adrenaline has one job: to be burned off. And if you don't let it get burned off, adrenaline goes to 3 places, because there's 3 things in your body that are working continuously: your heart, your lungs, and your brain. That's why when we get caught in anxiety, our heart beats faster, we continue to breathe fast, and our brain continues to ruminate, because that's what adrenaline's job is. It's to be burned off. So it's going to whatever place is going to let it get burned off the fastest. And then from there, after you breathe it out, you write it out, and then you do a little bit of exercise, you go back and you read what you wrote. This thing takes about 6 to 7 minutes to do. But when you go back and read what you wrote, you'll be surprised when you see it in writing, or you see you talking to yourself about, this is what I was going through. Your brain starts to go, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Why was I going to act on that? What? And the more you do that, the more you begin to see it. And then you start subconsciously and consciously creating roadblocks for those thoughts, because you recognize them for what they are, which is lying liars. And that happens to everybody all the time. And by doing that, this is why being more psychologically minded, having a good access of a bunch of different psychological tools, will allow you to go through any situation and understand how to navigate it. You may not navigate it perfect, but nobody's perfect. As long as you navigate it 10%, 15%, 20%, 50% better than last time, you're improving. And that's all that matters.
That is all that matters. I was going to ask you about strategies for overcoming imposter syndrome.
Oh boy. I am well versed in imposter syndrome, thanks to being bullied a whole bunch as a kid and having a group of friends that were mean as a group, but great as individuals, which really added to the confusion, led to a lot of imposter syndrome for me. And it's one of those things that I still fight with on a daily basis. It's still one of the most common things that comes up of like, why are people going to listen to you? What do you really know? And I'm like, well, so I have to keep reminding myself, hey, I do have 23 years experience. I have lived for 47 years. I've probably talked to between 2,000 to 5,000 people in all kinds of different realms about all kinds of different things. I might know something, but it's that self-talk piece again, where recognizing what your imposter story is. Mine was that nobody likes you. You don't know anything anyway. And so you should just be quiet and try to do whatever they want you to do. Figure out who they need you to be and be that, because then they'll like you. But what I've found is in the last 10 years since I've really implemented this system on myself, I don't do that anymore. I'm me all the time. I dial some stuff up and I dial some stuff down, but I'm me. This is just me. Everything you're getting is just who I am. And figuring out what that is takes time, but it takes you knowing what's the story you're telling yourself about you. Because all of us have been told a story about who we are. My story was when I was born, I weighed 1 pound, 15 ounces. So that was 47 years ago. So the odds of me being alive and being normal, I'm still seeing if that's true or not, was very, very slim. Because my mom wrote a journal, and in that journal, she talked about how many other babies would come in that were weighed more than me and would still die. And how all these things and all the trauma they went through for the first 6 months of my life. And so I was always told that. So I always thought, well, of course, I must be here for something good. I must be here because God said so, because I'm special, because all this kind of stuff. And then at home, it was great. But then school was another story. It was bullying and pain and suffering and frustration. And I didn't understand why that was. But going through all those things also helped me to learn that it doesn't matter what other people think, because they're going to judge you and they're going to have opinions about you no matter what. Because I was bullied for being too thin and too emotional. Other people were bullied for being too fat. Other people were bullied for being, a different ethnicity, for having an accent, for having a stutter. People that want to bully you will bully you for any reason. They'll bully you for any reason. And usually it's always about them, not about you. You're just the perfect target for that period of time. And the crazy thing is,
a lot of it is people are mirrors, and they reflect back to you. You tend to perceive the thing that you're worried about in yourself.
Yes.
I find that most people don't care about you. You can do whatever you want to do, and mostly they'll just ignore you because they're more concerned about themselves and how they're being perceived, and they're not.
And that is true. No, that is 100% true. Most of the time, when it comes to people, it's like I tell my clients, when you're in front of me, I am 100% here for you. But when you leave the door, I can't take you with me. I can't take you with me when I leave this office. I can't take you with me when I go home, because I can't carry your burdens. You carry your burdens and I'll carry mine. But I will do my best to teach you how to whittle your burdens down and how to set them down, because that's what it's about. Every human being on this planet, again, we all have our own story. And that story comes with the good, the bad, the ugly, the burdens, the pain, the sorrow, the joy, all the stuff. So until you are able to set those burdens down, and the only way to do that is continuing to take inventory every day. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I telling myself about this moment? Like my client who just talked to me about golf, right? In that moment, he used to tell himself, I'm going to suck on the rest of this course. I'm going to ruin the game. It's going to be a horrible game. I'm going to play the worst I've ever played in my life. And then he would. And then last weekend, when he went and did it, he had a bad first hole, and then he ended up winning the round because he changed the way he talked about himself, because he stopped. He took an inventory of what he was saying, what he was feeling, what he was thinking. He did some box breathing, and then he changed his entire perception of the entire time that he spent out there. Because that's the thing, right? Like, I read a very interesting study recently where they talked about how, as parents, 93% of the time we spend with our children is from birth to 18. Because after they're 18 and they go out into the world, you get 7% of their life after that. So cherish that piece. When I heard that study, I'm like, there's no way. 93%, that's insanity. No. So I started thinking, okay, well, let me think about my own life. So I started doing the math, right? Okay, I was with my parents for 18 years. I'd see them every day. Then I went to college, and I'd see them in the first quarter of college. I'd see them about every 2 weeks. The second quarter of college, I'd see them maybe once a month. The third quarter of college, I saw them on Thanksgiving and Christmas. The next year, I saw them maybe 2-3 times a year, maybe holidays. Then I moved across the country to Washington to get my graduate degree. And then I saw them one time that year. Then I moved to California, and I saw them one time that year. And then it started to 2 times every 2 years, and then so on and so forth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so true. So being present where you are now, with the people you are now, that you have in your life now, is the most important thing in the world, because you don't know when you're going to not see them again. You don't know how often you're going to see them. And it's so important to be connected, because we are more connected now than ever, thanks to technology. And we're also more disconnected than ever now, thanks to technology.
That is so true. I have 5 kids, and my youngest just left,
Yeah.
but my oldest is 40. And I've had young kids in my house for a lot of years, like 40 years of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that disconnect now. They're launched, they have families of their own, they're growing up, they're busy, they have things that they want to do. And
so
while we text
hold
a
on
lot.
Wait. You did
I'm
your
63.
job? You did your job? Whoa,
Yeah.
Good job. 5 kids, that's a good job. But yeah, you're noticing.
And they're really amazing human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sincerely proud of the people they grew up to be. Yeah. Every one of them is just like, wow.
Yeah. And I say, I worked in hospice for a while as a social worker. Mm-hmm. And none of them ever, and the 19 people that I worked with during the couple of years that I did that all passed away, then none of them ever said, boy, I sure wish I would have worked more. All of them said, I wish I would have taken that trip. I wish I would have spent more time with my family. I wish I would have figured out a way to create family reunions. I wish I would have done these things and created deeper, more meaningful connections with the people in my life, because that is all that really matters. The rest of the stuff doesn't matter. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, you need money to live. Yeah, you want to have a good life. Yes, you want all these things, but without the people to share it, it's hollow and it's empty, and it's quite frankly sad.
It is sad. And it's sad that there are so many people that are focused on the things that are just really so insignificant.
Yep.
When it's kind of why I do this show. It's like, I want to highlight what people are doing out there and help be the solution and to make connections, because I think the one-on-one connections, they have a ripple effect. They help the people that in their periphery. You help one person, that person has people that are in their periphery. You change that person's life, you change everybody's life around there, and those ripple out. And so you're changing communities and you're changing the whole world. Yes, and I just think coaches are like the key to this massive change that I see happening. It's not even like on the horizon. It's happening now. Yeah. Because the more people that find out about what you're doing and what the other people that I talk to are doing, the more the more changes start, the little
Yeah.
ripples start happening.
It's the ripples. It's throwing the pebble in the pond. It may not look like anything has changed, but every place that ripple goes, it shifts and changes an entire ecosystem. And that's what it is with people. Like, that's the way I look at it, right? Because the clients that I see, when they make changes in their life, it then affects the people in their orbit. And then I always tell them, take what you've learned from me and teach your family. Take what you learned from me and teach your kids, teach your wife, teach your friends. Tell everybody. If you don't feel like you can teach it, send them to me. I will teach them. Let them understand that if you make these little changes, you will be better. You will feel better. You will feel full. You'll feel connected. You'll feel, like you're living your best life. And that's the thing, is I spent 38 years not living my best life. Because I was afraid, because I was scared, because I didn't think I was good enough, because I didn't think I had enough to offer, because there was a million becauses. And I finally got to the point where I'm like, no, I'm done with that. All I want to do is do what I've always wanted to do, because I wanted to help people and be a therapist or be a social worker or be a police officer or be something. That's all I've wanted to do my whole life. And this is who I am. This is written in my DNA. And all I want is people to breathe and recognize that it's okay to fail, and that failure will lead you to amazing places. And it's okay to succeed, and success will lead you to amazing places. But just to always be mindful where you are in your journey, and always be mindful of what this is telling you, because this is your best friend and your worst enemy simultaneously.
Be the hero. You
That's
don't
right.
have to be the victim. A victim
right.
needs somebody to rescue them. When you're the hero, you have all the power. And
That's right.
sometimes you're going to go through struggles. But on the other side, it feels so good.
That's right. You get to live a life. You get to live a life. But that's the thing. Life is a constant repeating hero's journey. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Sometimes the journey is long. Sometimes the journey is short. But that's what it is every single time. Is that journey repeating and repeating and repeating. But as you gather the tools you need, the journey becomes shorter each time, because been there, done that, recognize it, know what to do, no problem. That's why it's so important for anyone that is suffering, anyone that is going through feeling burned out, depressed, anxious, frustrated, stressed out, disconnected from their family, from their friends, from their loved ones, to find the tools to begin to build the bridge to come back. Because the only person that can do it is you. Nobody else can do it for you until you step up and decide, I'm going to do this.
And that's really the beauty of hiring a coach. You can try to figure it out on your own. A lot of times when we're talking about these sorts of things, people don't even know where to start. Yeah. And then if you hire a coach, they're going to shorten the learning curve, and you're going to get results quickly. Yeah. And really 15 minutes a day, everybody's got 15 minutes. You can find 15 minutes in your day. Yes, even if you have to break it up into 3 sections of 5 minutes when you're in the bathroom.
15 or 15 1-minute sections, whatever you need to do. It's that kind of thing, right? Sometimes all you need is that 1 minute to just stop and just go, okay, I don't like this thinking. I got to change it. What can I do different? That's why having specific tools that are very simple and that are very effective, that lets you see the different way of looking at things, it gives you the ability to give yourself permission to take that 5-minute break, to take that 15 minutes, to use your lunch hour to eat food and learn about what can I do to change the rest of my day. If the morning was bad, okay, what about the rest of the day? I'm a big proponent of, guess what? Here's a very simple hack. Are you ready? If you got a 30-minute lunch and it takes you 15 minutes to eat lunch, take a 15-minute nap. Because when you wake up from that 15-minute nap, or even if you're not napping, just lay there and just breathe and just rest. When you open your eyes, you will feel like it's a new day, and you will be able to move forward again. It's really simple things like that we're like, well, that makes perfect sense. Why don't I do that? I don't know, because sometimes you don't think about it anymore.
You don't think about it. A lot of it, you just don't think about it. And sometimes it's because you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
But once you do know, then it's a matter of practicing and making it a habit, so that when like anxiety strikes you, or you feel like you're going to get really mad about something, the only person you're hurting is yourself. You're in traffic and somebody cuts you off. Obviously, that person didn't know they cut you off. Nobody in their right
intentional.
mind.
It's never intentional.
And
well, sometimes I can't say never. Sometimes it can be intentional, but that is a very different circumstance and a very different situation. And that's when you should go see a therapist. That's when you need more than a life coach. That's when you need a therapist. But that's also a part of it. That's one of the good things about being being a therapist and being a life coach. If I see things while I'm coaching you that I think you need more, I will tell you, I think you need more. I think you may need to go to therapy, because I think the tools I will teach you will be a good adjunct to therapy. Because sometimes you need therapy too, because sometimes you have to dig out the root of the problem. A lot of the times it just takes moving forward, but sometimes you have to go in and look at the root, because if you don't, it continues to grow back again and again and again. So there's always that balance that you have to strike.
Absolutely. So what is the one thing you want our clients to take away from this conversation today?
I want you to know that if you're feeling stuck, or that if you feel like you're failing in different areas of your life, that you can change your life in 100 days. The key is to focus on renovating 4 main areas of your life: your time, your connections, your emotions, and your purpose. You can never discount having purpose. That's why working with me and doing the Small Changes, Big Impact transformational system, that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to help you take accountability, to learn 30 different psychological tools, and then to use these tools to make those small changes in each of those areas I discussed in 15 minutes a day. So by doing that, literally in about as quick as 3 months, you will start to see changes in your life. Because once you see the changes, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you won't do the stuff anymore. So if you want to make any changes in your life and you're tired of feeling stuck and burned out and all these things, reach out to me.
Perfect. And how do they reach out to you?
Sure. You can reach out to me. So you can reach out to me on smallchangesbigimpact.net/info. And on that website, you can get more information. There's a link to a free 20-minute training on burnout, or you can just set up a 30-minute call to talk with me, or you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at smallchangesbigimpact.4 So, but all these things also, they'll be available.
YOU or just the letter U? YOU or the letter U?
No, 4 and U, the letter U.
Okay, perfect. And we'll make sure the links are in the show notes below.
Great.
Clint, it has been my pleasure getting to chat with you. You've just helped me in so many ways today.
Well, that's my job, and I love it. This is the thing for me: changing people's lives and helping people to see that life doesn't have to be scary or uncertain or a burden. This is what gets me out of bed in the morning. This is why I've done this for 23 years, and this is why I'm going to probably do it until I draw my last breath. So I look forward to, hearing from people, and whatever you guys need. If you ever want me to come back, I'm happy to come back and talk more, because I got a whole bunch of stuff in here.
Cool. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.